Hey guys, glad you stopped by. It's Wednesday. Thought we'd do some cooking, do a little dinner, and it's an absolutely beautiful day outside. And you know we need to eat, obviously, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen tonight. And I've been outside all day playing in the garden. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you will soon. The update on the garden. I promise it's coming. I just gotta get some editing done on it, and it'll be out. But yeah, I would really like to get back outside and play some. You know, I mean, we've got a lot of little things going on out there, and like I said, it's absolutely gorgeous outside. It's like 73 degrees out. You can't really argue it. So, you know, I thought we'd do something rather quick and easy. Now, I was talking to my friend Donna, one of the members of our neighborhood, and she had mentioned chicken taco soup. That sounds really good. And it takes no time to make, and it can be filling, and you can, you know, take away and add to it. I mean, it's just got so much versatility to it, and then the things you can put on top of it once it's done are endless. And that in itself is awesome. So I thought, you know what, let's give this a shot. It doesn't take long to make. It's filling, and I don't know about you, but where stews and chilies lean more towards cool weather, I think soup is pretty much an any time of the year thing. That's just my opinion. You know, and I know even like Chris has a different opinion of that. She says, I know soup is a cold weather thing, and I don't buy that. Not soup. Stews I'll buy. Chilies I kind of buy, although I can eat them both all year long. Is that something you could eat all year long? I mean, I know I can. I just feel that soup is an anytime gig, especially when it's something you can make fast. It's easy, you know, and yeah, I mean, hands down easy. So anyhow, that's what we're gonna make tonight. We're gonna make a taco chicken soup, and I think it's gonna be fabulous. Simple, basic pantry ingredients. Nothing really hard. Couple things to cut up. That's it. Everything else is already done for us for the most part. I mean, you could make this challenging if you wanted to, but why? Especially on a beautiful day like today. If you're new and this is your first video, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back. Thank you. With that being said, if you would be so kind to like, subscribe, share, all three of those things. You know, that thumbs up, hitting the notification bell, subscribing, sharing, all of those keep us out in the algorithm and help to grow our neighborhood, right? So, you know, that's really important. Remember, our end game is, you know, 5,000 by the end of the year. I think we can hit that, right? I have no doubt. If we share enough, I know I share all of the videos I can. Chris, my wife, if you're new, she shares my videos. My kids share my videos when they remember to. And we're still steady moving. We haven't stalled out by any means, but we're still about 1,400 shy. You know, and I think we can hit it. But anyhow, moving on. Comments, always welcomed. I respond to all comments. I can't think of one I've ever not responded to. I like the conversation. Plus, if you take the time to comment, I should take the time to respond, right? I think all YouTubers should. And most of them are really good about it. I can understand if you've got like 3 million subscribers and everybody's commenting. That makes it a little hard to keep up. I get it. But all the same, you should try, right? So why don't we head on down here to the counter, and we'll get started making this lovely quick soup. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. Like I said, straightforward, easy stuff. They're kind of kitchen staples as far as groceries go. Something you could definitely cook if you were in a cabin, or you know, just out camping for that matter, or you know, anything like that, or just at home for a quick, easy family meal. And this will freeze too. That's the beauty of it. So, first thing I did is we've got a Dutch oven. Definitely I need that, and something to stir with. That's pretty much it as far as equipment goes. And in my Dutch oven, if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use a stock pot easily. As a matter of fact, we may end up switching over to a stock pot. That's happened to me several times, because even though this Dutch oven is a pretty good sized Dutch oven, I inevitably have one or two dishes that will not fit in this bad boy. But anyhow, that being said, enough of my woes, right? In my Dutch oven, I have 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I went ahead and got that heated up. So we got it bubbling. It's bubbling. It's kind of bubbling, dancing. You know, it's moving around. I'm getting little wisps of smoke off of it. I don't know if you can see it or not. I got the fan going behind me, and if you can hear it, I apologize in advance. It just gets stuffy in here when the oven's on, even though my kitchen has, I mean, kind of tripled in size because I knocked down a wall. But anyhow, we got our tablespoon of olive oil heating up in there. So what we're going to add to that, I've got 1 small to medium onion, and I've just got it chopped up, right? Not big pieces, not really small pieces. So we're, you know, finely chopped. That's the thing. And we're going to go ahead and get that in there, and we're going to let these cook for about 5 minutes, and we're going to stir them. We're going to saute them, basically. And I've got my heat on a medium, high-ish heat. But we want these to be golden brown and softened and sauteed. Okay, so we got our onions are sauteed. So the next thing we need to do is pretty much add everything else. So we'll just go through the list. We are going to start with, and I did make a couple of deviations off of the recipe that I found, but not many. But we're going to start with some green chilies and tomatoes, or some Rotel. I'm not using my own just because I am out until the garden grows. So I got 2 10-ounce cans of Rotel. Go ahead and get that in there. Be careful of the steam. You don't want to hurt yourself. The steam burns can be just horrid. The next thing we're going to add to this is going to be 4 cups of chicken broth or stock, or either one. I mean, we make our own, so but you can buy store-bought, and if you do buy the store-bought, it's 1 quart, okay, which would be one of the small boxes. So we're going to add 4 cups of our chicken stock in there, and then we are going to add 1 medium to small red pepper. I actually wanted to put a red and green pepper in here, half of each, but I didn't have any green pepper and I wouldn't run back out to the store, so we just used 1 red pepper, right? Work with what you got. So I got 1 medium red pepper in there. Go ahead and get that in, followed by 1 it's funny because remember last week we were talking about canned corn and frozen corn. Last week we used frozen corn and how it has good flavor and it's crunch. This original recipe called for 1 can of corn, which isn't bad. Like I said, I like canned corn. It just doesn't have that crunch that like fresh corn does. But we're gonna put that in there, and the corn is drained. All right, you don't want the juice on it. Or the Rotel, you want that juice. The corn, not so much. And then we are going to add, and here was one, this was the variant that I was talking about from the original recipe I found, which the original recipe I had came from a website called Salt and Lavender with a lady named Natasha. And the recipe looked phenomenal. The original recipe in this case called for black beans. I'm the only person in my house that likes black beans. So instead, I am going to go with 1 can of chili beans. Ones we make. Matter of fact, we're going to try to make these this week if you stick around. If you do use black beans, or like just a can of black beans or kidney beans or a bean of your choice, I recommend draining them and rinsing them. Okay, you just want the beans. In this case, I want the whole thing because of the sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 1 jar of, and if that's the case, you're using a 15-ounce jar if you're buying store-bought beans, or a 15-ounce can if you're buying store-bought. And okay, that's all of that. Give this a good stir real quick, and then the last thing we're going to add for right this moment is our spices. So on our plate here we have 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of, or half a teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, although I'm using granulated garlic. But if you have granulated garlic, great. If not, powder works too. And then in the center here, I have got a half a teaspoon of Mexican oregano. It is not Italian oregano, it is Mexican oregano. It has the most amazing flavor. I try to use it as often as I can, and any Tex-Mex, Southwestern, Mexican dish, that is a must, in my opinion. I mean, obviously you don't have Mexican oregano, you use what you got. But you can usually find it, if you live in a larger town, you should be able to find it in your grocery store. If not, you can order it online. I think Amazon carries it. There's lots of places that carry it. But like I said, if you live in a larger town, you should be able to find it in the international aisle, I think is what they're still calling it. And then, but we're gonna put that in now. If you have Mexican oregano, if you buy it, I recommend buying it because it's amazing. But before when you measure it out and put it in your hand and crush it with your fingers. That activates that flavor. It makes it say hello to the world. If not, you'll still get the flavor, but it won't be nearly as robust, and a little goes a long way. It is powerful. So, that being said, we're going to take what we got right here, we're going to bring this up to a boil, back down to a low simmer, and we're going to let this low simmer for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we have been simmering, low simmer, for like the last 5-6 minutes after I brought it up to a boil, and we only have 2 more ingredients left. The next one I want to talk about for just a second. I mean, I know we just got to talk about Mexican oregano, right? But it's the cream cheese. Now, first of all, you want this at room temperature, as softened as you can get it. This has actually been sitting out for a couple hours. I had a piece of plastic wrap over it, no different than when we make cheesecakes together, right? I set it out, it stays out for a good long time. I wrap it in plastic, that way it doesn't turn yellow, right? Get that crisp on it. But I also have it cut into little pieces, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pieces, and they're at room temperature. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in, and because cream cheese is naturally hard to melt, that's why you want to make sure, like when you're making a cheesecake, that it's really smooth and you don't have any big lumps, because you'll still have big lumps if you're not careful. This is really no different. So I've got it at room temperature, cut up into small chunks, and we're going to put these in here. And this is 1 8-ounce block, right? It's just the one package of cream cheese you would buy at the grocery store. 8 ounces for 220. Oh no! Help me out, guys. What is it? It's 226 grams, 227 grams of cream cheese. So I got that in there. We're gonna bring that up to bring it back up to a simmer, and we're gonna sit here and stir this till it melts. And it may take a minute, and depending on how warm room temperature your cheese is, your cream cheese is. Cream cheese, you could honestly, and I'll probably catch 7 different kinds of hell for saying this, but you could honestly put it out in the morning before you go to work, wrap it up, and let it sit on the counter. Your food has to be above 190 degrees for a certain amount of time. I have never had a dairy product sit on my counter. I mean, because technically eggs aren't supposed to be out. No food should be sitting out on your counter at room temperature for more than 2 hours. Dairy and things like that. And I apologize for the dogs barking back here. Everybody just kind of came out at once. But while that's melting and we're stirring on occasion, I want to show you something real quick. So last week I showed you a picture, and if I'm savvy enough, I'll put it back up here again, of a bunch of cookies that we did. One of them was peanut butter cookies, but these aren't regular peanut butter cookies. We actually made 2 different kinds. One that is sugar-free with a natural peanut butter, and we found a sugar substitute that has no aftertaste. It's called allulose. It's crazy good stuff. Not cheap, but crazy good stuff, and you would never know there's not sugar in it. I even took it over to work, and none of them guys knew they were sugar-free. And then we have these ones here, the ones that are left. that are coconut palm sugar, which is a substitute for brown sugar. It's still considered a sugar, but it's easier to digest if you're diabetic. And we replaced the white sugar in the peanut butter cookie with honey. So we lowered the sugar content, but the two things that we put in it are easier for your body to digest. So, because they're not really processed like regular sugar is. So your body digests them better and you don't get that spike in your sugar. But both of them, amazing. And I mean, the best part of that is look, this is after a week. They're still soft. You know, soft as the day is long. That's really cool for a cookie. So if it's something you might want to try or you think you're interested in, let me know. I can shoot a video on them. You can't go wrong, and I really think, especially with the allulose, that's something you could use pretty much baking anything with to not have that sugar. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get this cheesecake, or this cream cheese cheesecake, cream cheese melted, and that way we can move on to the next step. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, so we have got our cream cheese melted. Now, a couple things I didn't mention that I probably should have, but that's okay, it was just like a second ago. After you put your cream cheese in here, you want to bring it up to a rolling boil. You have to get this going nice and hot in order to melt that cream cheese. I mean, it took, 5-10 minutes. If you want to speed that process up some, you can. You just got to be kind of careful. Even though your cream cheese is at room temperature, put it in the microwave for 10 seconds at a time. It will make it even softer. And you can hit about 30 seconds or so with your microwave. I try real hard not to use my microwave, but if you have 5-10 minutes, rolling boil, your cheese will melt. All our cheese is gone. Like I said, it didn't quite take 10 minutes. But the last thing we need to add into this is the star of the show, right? The chicken. 3 cups of just shredded chicken. Now, I'm using a rotisserie chicken. I'm cheating a little. But if you don't want to go out and buy one, you have chicken in the fridge, that's fine. Just dice it up, right, into cubes. And then when you're sauteing your onions, throw your chicken in there. That way it's cooked by the time we're all said and done. But like I said, rotisserie chicken. That way I have the carcass for when I make chicken broth, which I'm almost to that point again. I make chicken broth like once every 3 months, I swear. But 3 cups worth. It's almost a whole rotisserie chicken. And we're gonna go ahead and get this in there. And then we're just going to let this cook, for about another 5 minutes. All we're doing at this point, because our chicken's already cooked, right, is letting the chicken warm back up, and we're letting it get to know its new roommates, here in the soup. If it starts to thicken up thicker than you want it, you can add more chicken broth. You can add a little bit of water, which I'm sure somebody will say that's sacrilege. But I don't think it is. I know I wouldn't want to open up another entire container of chicken broth just to make my soup to add just a little bit, because you may not use that again. I mean, unless you cook all the time, we do, but you may not. So if you have to, just add like another half a cup or so of water until it's as thin as you like. But right now we're going to go ahead and just let this let this chicken warm up, get to know the rest of the players here in the pot, and when I come back, we should be ready to serve this up and try a bite. All right, see you here in a second. Okay, so we let her go for about 5-6 minutes, not quite 7. Let everything warm up, get to know each other, and then I pulled it off the stovetop and I let it sit here. And here is our end result. I'm not gonna grab it, it's hot and I don't have my pot holders, but it smells amazing. It looks absolutely delightful. So I'm sure it tastes fantastic also. But you want to, much like when you pull something out of the oven, you want to let it sit for a minute, right? And relax. You try to eat this straight off the stovetop. Remember, we just had this thing at a rolling boil for a minute. You will melt your face. You don't want to melt your face. So we let it sit here for about 10 minutes. And now we're just going to serve some up. You know, as far as toppings go, it's no different than, say, like tacos. Sour cream, guacamole, cheese, jalapenos, tomatoes, you know, fresh tomatoes, whatever it is your heart desires that you normally put on tacos, right? So we got our sauce there. Now I have got some shredded Fiesta Mexican style cheese I'm gonna put on there, just like such. I have got some tortilla strips, multicolored tortilla strips that we're gonna put on here. And then I have got some fresh sliced jalapeno, because in my opinion, jalapeno goes good with everything. And there you have it, my friends. Do you see good? Yep. You know, if you ever wonder what I'm looking down at, it's my prompter. I've got my laptop right here. I can see myself in it. That way I can make sure that, you know, you guys actually get to see what I'm trying to show you. But that is what we have right there. All right, so let's give this bad boy a try, why don't we? Let me get that a little mixed up there. Cut that jalapeno part, because I definitely want a bite of the jalapeno in there. Yeah, do you guys like jalapenos? Do you guys like hot stuff, spicy? I mean, is that a thing for you? I know in our house we eat a lot of spicy. I guess what some people would deem spicy, but our spicy I don't think is nearly as cool as our not spicy is usually most people's spicy. Yeah. So anyhow, enough lollygagging. Let's give this a try and see how we taste. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, that's to die for. That is absolutely amazing. And it does have a bit of a kick, even without the jalapeno. So, if spice isn't your thing, per se, I would almost cut the chili powder in half. You know, maybe use a half a tablespoon instead of a full tablespoon. But I personally think that's perfect. Just perfect. Gotta love stringy cheese. Alright. You guys have got to give this one a try. Hands down. That is absolutely awesome. Easy to make. Packed full of flavor. Just key things to remember. Mostly just make sure your cream cheese is warmed. You know, it's room temperature at least. Make sure you get your soup up to a good rolling boil, not like Mount Vesuvius, but a good rolling boil in order to get that cream cheese to melt. Heat is everything with cream cheese, right? Because it's not like a cheesecake where we're keeping it in the oven for over an hour. We want it to get done quickly and efficiently because it's dinner time, it's weeknight. You know, you got company coming over that you weren't aware of or you forgot about. You know, so to get it to melt as quickly as possible, get it up to a good rolling boil and it'll melt. It'll take about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 at the most, but that's your biggest thing. The cheat to that, microwave 10 seconds at a time until it's super soft. You know, not melted, but super soft, because you don't want to burn it, you don't want to give it a weird taste. And I personally, not a big fan of the microwave in general, but if that's something you want to try, that is the way to do it. If you try this, let me know. Leave me a comment down below. You know, Facebook, I've been trying so hard to get on there more often. It doesn't always work, but I try. Best bet, comment down below. Tomorrow for dessert, we are going to do a strawberry cake. I haven't made one. I can't believe I haven't made one. But we're gonna try something different with this one. Only because I can't find a recipe for the way I want to do it. So we're gonna try it my way and see if it works. I think you'll be impressed. I hope. I haven't made it yet, so I don't know. It could be a colossal failure. Who knows? But I'm gonna get this over the table because I have children that think they're starving to death, but they're not. But they're hungry at any rate. And get them fed. So till tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. It's gonna make their day a whole lot better. They may need to hear it. It's gonna make them smile, make you smile. And if you make them some of this chicken taco soup, holy cow, that's gonna be an evening of good conversation. You know, I can see it coming. And you don't have to really heat up your kitchen. That stovetop's not gonna be on that long. There's even enough you can invite the neighbors and the guy walking his dog down the street. I promise. Get to know somebody. All right, so till tomorrow for strawberry cake, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.